You don't have to like them, but you have to work with them. We've all been there, trapped in meetings with passive aggressive coworkers, micromanaged by overbearing bosses, or just stuck trying to collaborate with someone who makes everything more complicated than it has to be. But here's the real question. Why do certain people get under our skin so easily? And more importantly, can you lead someone effectively if you can't stand to be around them? Dealing with difficult people isn't just frustrating. It's one of the most emotionally draining experiences in any workplace. The more you ignore the problem, the worse it gets. Whether it's the coworker who thrives on drama, the team member who dodges accountability, or the manager who never listens. These interactions leave lasting stress that erodes your well-being and productivity. According to a Gallup report, poor workplace relationships are among the top 3 reasons people cite for quitting their jobs. The cost is enormous, not just in terms of turnover, but also in terms of lost morale, reduced collaboration, and toxic work environments. But there's good news. Learning how to handle difficult people is a valuable skill. It separates reactive employees from resilient leaders who rise above the noise. Today, you'll learn how to turn that frustration into fuel. We'll explore the psychology behind challenging behavior, why some people are so hard to deal with, and more importantly, what you can do about it. This video is packed with tools you can apply immediately to take control and set the tone in any room, regardless of the atmosphere. So let's start by identifying the enemy, because not all difficult people are difficult in the same way. So understanding the type of behavior you're dealing with is the first step toward effectively disarming it. So number 1, the passive aggressive. These individuals avoid confrontation but express resentment through indirect behaviors such as sarcasm, procrastination, or backhanded compliments. You'll often hear them say things like, "I thought you knew already," or "sure, if that's what you really want." Their resistance is subtle, which makes it all the more damaging over time. This behavior often stems from a fear of conflict combined with a desire to maintain some control. Number 2, the narcissist. This person has a compulsive need to be admired, recognized, and validated. They hijack conversations, interrupt others, and undermine team efforts to divert attention away from themselves. Criticism, no matter how constructive, is seen as a personal attack. Narcissistic behavior often hides deep insecurities. They seek dominance as a way to protect the fragile ego. Left unchecked, they can poison a team's dynamic, creating resentment and division. So number 3, the chronic complainer. Every workplace has one. This individual always finds something wrong, whether it's the project timeline, the coffee in the break room, or the way decisions are made. What makes them challenging is the occasional venting. It's the consistent negativity without a willingness to contribute solutions. They often feel unheard or powerless and use complaining as a form of expression or control. But their pessimism can be contagious and lower morale across the board. Number 4, the micromanager. This leader or coworker doesn't delegate, they dictate. Every step, every detail, every moment is scrutinized. What seems like controlling behavior is usually rooted in anxiety or a history of being let down. They believe they're being helpful by overseeing everything, but in reality, they're choking productivity and eroding trust. Micromanagement is often a symptom of deeper issues surrounding trust, security, and a fear of failure. Number 5, the exploder. High volume, high emotion, and high drama. These individuals react to stress by lashing out, yelling, or dominating conversations. While their behavior seems aggressive, it often stems from poor emotional regulation or external stress. If their anger goes unchecked, it can create a climate of fear and shut down open communication entirely. So why does categorizing these behaviors matter? Because strategy without understanding is just guesswork. If you don't recognize the type of difficult person you're dealing with, you risk using the wrong approach, which can only fuel more tension. So for instance, Confronting a passive-aggressive person head-on often backfires. Instead, you diffuse with calm, specific feedback and open-ended questions that require direct answers. You bring the hidden conflict into the open, not with aggression, but with clarity. For the narcissist, set firm boundaries but frame challenges in a way that still allows them to feel competent and effective. Give them roles where their strengths shine but limit their ability to derail group collaboration. For the complainer, acknowledge their concerns but then pivot to address the underlying issue. Ask, what would a better solution look like to you? So this shifts them from venting mode into problem-solving mode. You're not invalidating their feelings, you're just redirecting them toward progress. Micromanagers need reassurance. Instead of pushing back, offer regular updates before they even ask. Show them reliability, then slowly increase the freedom you're given. And for the exploder, the key is containment. Lower your voice when theirs rises. Don't match their energy. Set limits on what's acceptable behavior. Use time and space as tools. Say, let's pause and revisit this after we've both had a chance to cool down. So when you understand these patterns, you're not just reacting, you're leading with intent. You're choosing a response that disarms, not escalate. You are moving from frustration to strategy. Before you can lead others, especially those who are difficult, you must first lead yourself. And that starts with emotional mastery. Think about the last time you lost your cool with someone. Did it help, or did it escalate the tension, make you feel worse, and possibly damage a relationship or your credibility? Emotional reactions are natural, but they're rarely productive. And that's why the most powerful leaders are often the calmest in the room. So what does emotional mastery mean? It's the ability to recognize your emotional triggers, regulate your responses, and choose how to act rather than react. So according to psychologist Daniel Goleman, emotional intelligence consists of 5 key components: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. For our purposes, we'll focus on the first 2. Self-awareness is your ability to recognize and acknowledge your emotions in the present moment. So when a coworker cuts you off or a manager dismisses your input, can you pause and acknowledge, I'm feeling disrespected right now? That 1-second recognition gives you the power to choose your next move intentionally. So it shifts you from being on autopilot to being in control. Self-regulation is what happens next. You can stop the emotional reflex, the eye roll, the sarcastic reply, the passive-aggressive comment, and instead respond with composure. This doesn't mean you bottle things up. It means you control how and when you express them. You decide the tone, the timing, and the intention. So here are a few practical tools to strengthen those skills. Number 1, name the emotion. It's called affect labeling, and neuroscience shows it reduces activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center. When you say to yourself, I feel angry, or I feel disrespected, it helps you step back from the emotion instead of being swept away by it. Number 2, breathe deliberately. So deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Try box breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold for 4 seconds. It lowers cortisol levels and gives you just enough space to respond with intention instead of instinct. Number 3, adjust your body language. You can disarm tension by simply relaxing your shoulders, uncrossing your arms, and slowing your speech. A calm exterior creates a calming ripple effect in others, especially in high stakes moments. So number 4, rehearse neutral responses. So instead of saying, you're constantly interrupting me, try, can I finish my point before we move on? These neutral phrases allow you to assert yourself without escalating conflict. This is leadership through balance. And number 5, create mental space. So when you're under pressure, permit yourself to pause and say, let's take a few minutes. Or I like to think about it before I make a response. This isn't avoidance. This is strategic regulation. Great leaders understand that a delayed response can often lead to better results. Also, build recovery rituals. So after a tough conversation, don't rush to the next task. Take 5 minutes to decompress. Go for a walk, jot down a few notes, or breathe in silence. This resets your nervous system and prevents emotional carryover into the next interaction. So emotional mastery is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's choosing to be intentional when it's easier to be impulsive. When people see that you don't flinch under pressure, your influence multiplies. So when you master your internal world, you become someone others look to during uncertainty. You're no longer reacting to chaos. You're setting the tone for calm, confident leadership. Now that you understand the personalities you're dealing with, it's time to lead. And let's be clear, leadership isn't just a title or a role. It's a choice. It's the ability to influence others through trust, clarity, and even when things get messy. And in complex environments, your ability to lead effectively can be the difference between a toxic culture and a high performing, resilient team. One of the most effective frameworks is adaptive leadership, developed by Ron Heifetz. The core idea is this: not all challenges are the same. Some are technical, clear problems with clear solutions. But dealing with difficult people, that's an adaptive challenge. It requires mindset shifts, behavior change, and emotional resilience. You can't fix difficult people with one policy or one conversation. You lead through small, consistent actions that model calm, clarity, and strength. First strategy, lead by example. The most powerful leaders don't demand respect, they embody it. When you respond calmly in high stress moments, when you listen more than you speak, when you admit mistakes, you're setting a tone others will follow. Difficult people will test that tone, but if you maintain it, they eventually align with it or move on. This is the long game of leadership, consistency over charisma. Next, create accountability loops. This means you don't let disruptive behavior go unchecked, but you also avoid shaming people. You address the behavior, not the person. I want you to say, in yesterday's meeting, when voices were raised, we lost momentum. How can we handle disagreement differently next time? This invites ownership without sparking defensiveness. Make accountability a norm, not a surprise. Lastly, great leaders protect their energy. Dealing with difficult people can quickly drain you. Create your boundaries, protect your time, and don't try to change people who don't want to be changed. Influence where you can, release where you can't. Leadership doesn't mean carrying everyone, it means carrying what matters. Leadership in challenging environments isn't about control, it's about influence. It's not about winning every argument, it's about winning long-term trust. And it's not about fixing everyone, it's about equipping yourself and others to rise. Difficult people aren't just an annoyance, they are a test of your emotional control and your leadership strength. But now you've got the tools. You know how to spot the patterns, the passive aggressive, the narcissist, the micromanager, the complainer, and the exploder. You understand how to regulate your own emotions instead of reacting impulsively, and lead with authority. Most importantly, you've learned what authentic leadership looks like under pressure. Not through dominance, but through presence, patience, and consistent action. Leadership isn't about fixing people, it's about creating an environment where growth is possible, and that starts with you. When you model calm and clarity, you change the energy in the room. Difficult people aren't going away, but you're not here to be rattled by them. You're here to rise above them and lead anyway. So the next time tension flares, pause and respond like a leader you've become. If this helped you grow your leadership game, hit the like button. And for more real-world leadership strategies, subscribe to our channel for future videos. And until next time, stay sharp, stay focused, and lead forward.